Yo guys, this is Reinhardt and this is gonna be Affliction Lock Pressure Master for both RBGs and arenas. I'm gonna go over talents and glyphs and rotation for RBGs first and then gonna touch arenas. So let's get started right away here with the Dark Regeneration. Dark Regeneration here is a must to have for RBGs because you need that extra healing, and it's not the HUD that matters, it's actually increased healing intake towards you. That will matter a lot when you pop Dark Regeneration. For the second tier you wanna go with either Howl, but if your team has a lot of AoE fears, then go ahead and go with a Shadow Fury. For the third tier survivability options, it's either Dark Bargain or Soul Link is the superior choices for Affliction Locks, so to say. And for the fourth tier talent, I think that Blood Fear is a must because you do want to actually target those enemies and enemy healers and spam Blood Fear into them. Of course, this is going to be getting changed, and I think either Burning Rush maybe can work in RBGs, but I would say Unbound will probably be a better option for RBGs for Affliction Locks. Now, you don't want to go with the Grim of Sacrifice because your pet will get killed quite a lot, and it also provides a little bit extra burst towards the flag carriers. Yes, your hands can crit up to 100 to 140k on a full result targets. And the last but not least is Mandaros Fury for a Soulburn Seed of Corruption procs, and I'll show you that in just a couple minutes. For the glyph choices, you want to go for the Glyph of Soul Shards, Glyph of Hellstone, and the Glyph of Siphon of Life. Actually, it's not bad at all. Siphon of Life becomes in RBGs, but if you don't like Siphon of Life, you can go with the Demonic Circle. Siphon of Life basically heals it for 20% of the damage the Corruption does, and it basically can put up like a 10 to 15k healing HUD on you, which is actually not bad at all, so to say. You basically get second wind from RBGs if you do everything correctly, my friends. Now let's all go over the rotation. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to apply dots on the target. After applying full dots, pop your Dark Bargain, pop your Soul Shards, and go for the Soulburn Seed of Corruption proc. And refresh a couple dots, have them trigger the effect. And then go really generous with the application of Soulburn Soul Swaps on more targets. What basically what actual Soulburn Seed of Corruption gives you is it puts a lot of corruption on the enemy targets, and from there you're gonna get a lot more procs when it comes to Soulburn Soul Swaps. Keep in mind that you need to be saving it again for another Soulburn Seed of Corruption, so just save at least one of the talents, one of the Soul Shards, just so you can actually apply that much pressure. And again, you have a lot more corruption ticking, you're gonna have a lot more Soul Shards going to you, you're gonna be doing a lot more Soulburn Soul Swaps to apply full dots on the target. It's actually pretty damn amazing. And let's look at my recount really quickly and how much damage it's gonna do so far. Damage done. Okay. Well, I got up to like 140k AoE DPS, which is not bad at all, I would say here. Of course, it's a damage, not a player's, but still. Done correctly, Affliction Lock can actually top damage really relatively easy, and it's incredible. Okay, so now we're done with RBG Master. Let's take a look on actual Arena Master. The very first thing I want to say is you want to go instead of Grim of Sacrifice to a Grimoire of Supremacy, and you go from Dark Bargain to Sacrificial Pact because those are superior choices. Against a heavy melee team in 3s like a Warrior Enhance or Warrior DK who has a lot of Fear Escapes, you want to go for the Shadow Fury, and otherwise you want to go for the Howl. Against the Spell Glyphs, I think that Blood Fear is actually not a really good option. Unbound Will is, and the thing I like about Unbound is that just an extra trinket, but be careful because if you have fighting another Affliction Lock, and what Unbound Will does, it basically triggers Vampiric Touch and Unstable Affliction Protection Dispel mechanics. So you literally can actually hit for like 80k from Unstable Affliction Dispel, and you will lose 20% of your HP by using Unbound Will. So you will hit by 40% of your HP, and thus creating a really huge window for enemy team to swap onto you and kill you. So be careful using it in a nutshell. For a 3s match, Siphon of Life becomes almost an inferior choice, and you have the other two options to pick from. Demonic Circle is really nice, Curse of Exhaustion is not bad also, and another one is probably Soul Swap. The last thing I want to talk about here is that for RBGs you might actually sacrifice your Siphon of Life or a Hellstone in order to pick Unstable Affliction. If you're running with a Shadow Priest in 3s or RBGs, you can or another Affliction Lock who has already that protection, you can actually go really heavy on a damage and pick up the glyph of Unstable Affliction. And it's gonna be incredible because your team already has a dot protection, so Unstable Affliction will just add an extra damage to your team, which is always welcome. More aids, more damage, life is beautiful. Now, when it comes to talent choices for the last tier, go with the Kill Jading Scanning because it's amazing. Affliction Locks in arenas have to cost quite as much because we have to get some Malefic Grasp, we have to get some Soul Burns to get our Soul Shards back and Kite behind the pillars, and it's actually worked really good with the castable mechanics because we can actually do maybe even Drain Life healing. So for arenas, what you want to do is you want to apply all your dots, all your aids on 3 targets, on 3 enemies, and then pop a hand on 1 target at the same time. If you have an extra Soul Shard, give it to a pet or something else. Don't forget to refresh all your dots, everything, before the proc expires for an extra damage done. So right now I got up to like what, 43, 44, 45k DPS, which is not bad at all for 3s. I usually tap damage on Affliction Lock easily. Now, one thing I'm gonna say here for sure is that once you're running out of soul shots and you're looking at your activated trinket, and your activated trinket will come off the cooldown very shortly, and you need a few soul shots to get. For example, right now I've applied a little bit more dots again, and I need my soul shot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drain soul, kite around the pillar, line aside the interrupts, gonna get my soul shards back, so then I can pop my activate trinket again and reapply all the diseases for an extra pressure added. So something like this right here. Again, I applied all my pressure up, gonna go drain soul behind the pillar if I need to, gonna put out hand. And what an awesome thing about Kill Jading Scanning, it lets you do all this while you line aside the potential damage. The only thing I'm gonna say about the Kill Jading Scanning, you need this macro / stop casting to stop your cast. Last season, to interrupt my actual cast, I did just a little move, but with the Kill Jading Scanning it's no longer gonna work, so this is where you need to stop casting. Another good thing about the Kill Jading Scanning, if you're gonna get knockback or anything like that, and basically Kill Jading Scanning becomes amazing in that regards because knockbacks won't interrupt you. Sorry for the sneeze, guys, there. I'm just recording this everything manually. So overall, this is a pressure master for Affliction Locks for Arena and for RPGs. Now let's look at some awesome nifty tricks when it comes to Affliction Locks in arenas. Okay, so for the portal placements for the Grand Arena, you want to put a portal from one pillar to the opposite pillar when you actually are playing Spell Cliff, when your shaman needs to kite a little bit and you want to do offensive push and maybe go Demonic Gateway and how the enemy team. And if you're running with a melee and your melee is in the center taking a lot of damage, it's really good option to actually put your Demonic Gateway from your pillar towards the center, so the melee, when he gets pressured too much by ranged DPS and he needs to kite up and get caught up on healing, and then what you need to do is actually put that so he can port back. Now about the Kill Jading Scanning, it's pretty funny, it's pretty awesome, it's pretty nifty because like I said, line aside and drain souling around the pillars is really good as well. Special thanks to Moonsters, Stitches and Gavage for helping me to get some footage here. So like I said, for Arena Pressure Master, you pop all your shit, you soul burns to swap a lot, you try to set up the burst here, which is actually really good for Affliction Lock here. And again, the Kill Jading Scanning is also really good for applying those fears like I did right now behind the pillars in general. So let's go over to the Blades Age Arena. If you have a melee cliff that is sticking onto your shaman really hard, the best way to put a gateway here is on the bottom from one spot to the opposite here. So your shaman can actually go down and line aside. Works really good against RMP and other cliffs because what a lot of RMP relies on, for example, is to stack on each other, put a lot of CCs and kill your healer. And this will help your team to spread out so they can only get 1 or 2 people with their area of effect crowd control instead of just getting a whole 3 of them right away. Now, if you're running with a melee, for example, and your melee also needs support back to get caught up on healing, then the best way to do it is actually put a demonic gateway here from your starting area, from your port towards the middle. It's also going to help you to go offensively here, and even though you're going to outrange your portal, you can just get demonic gateway back. And also going to help your healer too. So this is good, really good in two options. First of all, letting your melee to port back and get caught up on healing, and lets you actually push in, get some CC, get some pressure out, and if they're swapping to you, you can use your gateway instead of your portal, which I think is actually pretty damn important. Now let's go over to the next one. Last thing I forgot to mention, for your killgaining scanning, it's really good to just pop the Drain Soul and go downstairs, and you will still cast your Drain Soul to get all your shards back, which is really important. For ruins, it's really hard to get off the demonic gateway, so you will need your melee or somebody else to peel for you. If you're gonna get pressured really much, you might actually want to put a portal in the starting area. Other than that, the best way to portal placement is actually very straightforward. From your starting area towards the tomb, and have your melee to help you get it off the cast, because you actually need it. And it's also gonna help you secure the mid and go back if you need to catch up on healing. And of course, if you want to dominate middle, then just put out the freaking portal right here and put a portal in the starting area. So there's really small differences, but you need to control the middle. I think that the team wins on this match, on this map, 80% of the time is the one who controls the tomb. So having demonic portal to port back or demonic circle here actually gonna further increase your option of controlling the middle, because you can just kite back, get caught up on healing, and port back into the middle for extra AoE CCs and stuff. Now, here's a few things I'm going to show you guys here, is the Soul Harvest. The Soul Harvest with this Soul Burn actually going to heal you for quite as much. It heals you for up to 150k HP if you have 3 targets. If Soul Harvest is on 3 targets with a Soul Burn, it heals you for 150k HP. It's a really great healing. I still think that it might be viable with a new Drain Life change glyph that's coming up in the 5.2 patch, and it might actually make it a really good talent of choice, so to say. So let's go over towards the next arena now. For Valorant series, I would strongly recommend to actually use your gateway to put it on the bottom over here, and a few reasons I'm going to explain you in a second. So put it over here, so first of all your healer can actually kite if there's hard swapping to him. Another one of the most probably important things that for this map, for Valorant series, we are strongly reliable on actually putting our portal behind the pillars, and when the melee gonna start straining us, we have to jump down, and if the melee jumps down with us, then we can actually always port back up on top, like in the case right now here. So I'm jumping down here and the healer follows me, and I can port back up and help my healer to catch up on some healing. But let's give an example of what if the melee actually won't jump down. What if the melee actually decides to hard swap to your healer at that point in time and train your healer? What's gonna happen is you're gonna be most likely on the side of your healer, because one particular reason your healer has to kite the melee. So in that case, actual demonic gateway is an absolutely amazing placement here, because you can simply click on your demonic gateway and then port all the way to the back to the stairs, get on top of the platform, and start peeling again via your fears. This is a really cool strategy that we're using as a shadow cleave for the past, like, I don't know, 30-40 games on this map. Another good portal placement probably would be actually from one pillar boxes to the other pillar boxes, because it will help your team to stay offensively when the other team is turtling. And believe it or not, if you apply a lot of aids, a lot of damage correctly my friends, then what's gonna happen is enemy team is gonna try to line aside a lot of your damage and catch up on healing. And during that time, you can just pop the gateway, port over there, and hold them. One thing though about this one is that it's ridiculously hard to pull off because of a 4 and 5 second cast time. Now I'm gonna show you a few cool little tricks here with the Soul Link. Because Soul Link shares your health with your demon, basically one person put a rejuvenation on me, and the rejuvenation average I think healed me for about 90k. So it had a 30k initial healing and about 5 procs afterwards, which is not bad. 90k healing for a hut. Now let me actually show you another thing. What if the healer huts me and my pet at the same time? Well, guess what? We're actually gonna double dip from rejuvenation healing, and we're gonna be healed for, at the very least, for 180k healing. Now, the funny part about also it works really good with the Beacon of Life. If your paladin actually beacons your pet and heals you, it will double dip those healing as well. But here's the most funny thing about with the Rested Druid. He puts a rejuvenation on you, he puts a rejuvenation on your pet, and you put a rejuvenation on yourself too via symbiosis. And guess what? You're gonna be healed for 270k. That's actually more than a second wind, which is pretty damn amazing, I would say. Now, if you use that, and maybe possibly you have a soul harvest at the same time, you can easily actually top yourself up. The only problem with that is that it's kind of not that great against a burst damage, because simply put, it's a sustained healing, it's not a burst healing. So if you're getting burst really hard, this is where it fails. And unfortunately right now, maybe with the gear scaling and resilience scaling and the way it's gonna work, but you can possibly start relying more on a sustained healing over random burst healing. But right now the way I see it is you actually have to be using your Dark Regeneration. Now, with the new glyph of Drain Life, that increases Drain Life healing. If it increases the Harvest of Life healing, I'm actually very keen to try it out and see how it works for myself. The last portion of this map is actually Tol'vir. The very first one about the Tol'vir. If your enemy team hides behind there, if you have a lock there who puts a portal, or a healer out there, the best way to use it is to probably put a gateway there. But for the most cases, actually, this is partially correctly of a gateway placement. I think the superior gateway placement would be actually from your pillar towards the middle, because a lot of teams, when they're putting a lot of pressure, they usually tend to shift their healer placement from their back pillar towards the middle center pillar over there. So putting a demonic gateway, first of all, can increase your way of dominating this arena by controlling two different nodes, the one that at the start and the one that's in the middle. And the second of all, it actually can provide some good counter pressure for the ports, howls, CC on the healer. That's it, guys, for Affliction Lock guide. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope there were a few cool tricks that you guys learned about. And I want to wish you guys Happy New Year and до свидания, my friends.